There's just 1 minute to showtime.
The engines are on.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
When they wrote up the systems and the rule set that we use, did working people get to write a line? What class of men on pen and paper jotted down their clues? With capital, the heart of their design. When 90 million want a thing, but some shareholders say no. Which class of people get to have their way? The people read the fine print, say that this thing has got to go. And we'll start writing a new contract here today. Don't you know that hundreds will work and one man keeps the money? They don't think they gotta tell us why. When they say the new social contract, all the bosses will be gobsmacked and everyone will want a sign. Oh, yeah, everyone will want a sign.
Hello, cousins. Thank you for joining us and hanging out with us today for another issue of What in Fresh Hell? Starring myself and our own Mr. Mayor Jared. Actually, we're called Social Contract. It just feels like What in Fresh Hell or A Week in Fresh Hell, whatever you want to phrase it as. You can't see me because I'm backstage when I'm doing it, but we have for our awesome theme song of our show, we have Mr. Mayor Jared to thank, and I always am dancing around and singing to it like I've never heard it before. So I love it, and I hope you guys love it too. You can definitely check out his music wherever music is checkoutable. So remember to support indie artists, and he is one of them. And you can hear some really great tunesies. So hey, Jared, what's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty all right. I'm for the first time in several weeks. I did not just get off of a plane yesterday, so I'm feeling okay. My voice is less froggy than usual.
Yeah,
but don't worry. Next week you have me fresh next week also, and then I'm gone for a little bit. Then I'll come back and be all groggy, and it'll be awesome.
We get the Clark Kent version of you a lot of the time, where you're like trying to put back on like the reporter suit and the glasses, and you're like, sit down. So,
I'm getting up to I do a lot of foreign travel, so it's relatively difficult to like phase me at this point, just because I've gone through a lot of it. Not saying that everything is easy for me, but I know what to expect. But I have now secured my upcoming trip to Russia, which I don't know if I talked about on here yet or not.
Yeah, I was actually I was gonna ask you this before the show, but I forgot. I was like, did we say anything about this yet?
So I think I talked to you, at least you before, I don't know, on air or not, about I was going through the visa process, and that was one of the most obnoxious. It was only obnoxious for the money. It was actually easy in that you got to pay a service to like do it for you because of the various sanctions and the rule changes with the various embassies. I was less willing to risk trying to just do it. With China, you just kind of, if you do the paperwork right, you can do it all basically entirely yourself, especially if you are able to get to one of the 6 or 7 consulates around the world. Like if you live near the Los Angeles one or the San Francisco one or the New York one, you can just go in, drop it off, a few days later, go back and get it. I live like 7 hours from LA, so that was, I did pay somebody to send it back to me. But with the Russia one, it's a company in Texas. It's called like Fast Visa Pro, like it's the most scam sounding company.
Yeah, right.
I think it's just Travel Visa Pro. That's what it is. And you call them, and you talk to a lady with a Russian accent for a little bit. I feel like, what kind of visa do you want? All right, let's transfer you to I don't know, insert Russian name here, Boris, but a lady. Can we talk to her for a little bit? She's like, oh yeah, don't worry.
Lana, that's always the go-to.
Yeah, there you go.
Name, right?
Tatiana.
Yeah, exactly.
Iana's, those ones. Mm-hmm. But I had to pay them, Jesus Christ, it was like $300 for the company, and then another $130 for the actual fee for the visa. And then $60 per way for the 2-day shipping back and forth, because I need to have my passport back in time. But at the end of all that, I do now have permission to travel to Russia for 3 years. My visa lasts. And
nice.
The fun challenges with that are, because of the sanctions, you can't interface with like anything in Russia without going through these like set up workaround sites. So let's say I want to book a flight to Russia. You can't.
No.
You can book a flight to Istanbul. Well, I should say with any American companies. So I could, with Turkish Airlines, book a flight from Phoenix all the way over, and it would be through like it'd be United doing the flight, like they would be the ones actually doing it. But since the ticket and the itinerary is through Turkish Airlines, that doesn't count. So we're allowed to fly to Moscow with a bunch of stops in between, of course. But the way that I can make this happen is I fly through an American company, United in my case, to Istanbul, and then you have to book a separate ticket from Istanbul into Moscow. So that all costs a lot more money too. And then I have to hope that I don't have over 7 hours of delays, because since it's 2 separate tickets, I have to get out of the airport, I have to leave security, get my bag as if I was arriving, and then turn around and go right back into security like, hey, I'm here for my flight to Moscow. And
convenience is not part of it. Obviously, they like want to deter people from going from the United States.
And then if you want to book a hotel, you can't go through like Expedia.
No.
Which I looked, I'm like, any chance? No. And then I used trip.com, which is like the Chinese, I think it's called like booking.com in other countries. It's the Chinese Expedia, and it's great to book shit in China through trip.com. Actually, booking American stuff through trip.com has about the same prices as Expedia. Don't mind it as a service. They also, I don't know if it's just because I'm on the American version or not, but they also do not, despite what Google says, allow you to book Russian hotels. So you have to go to, I think it's like hotels.com.ru. It's like this workaround site they have specifically because there are still Americans who go to Russia both for vacation, to visit their families,
Right.
business, various reasons. So the infrastructure exists, just everything is more expensive because you have to now pay basically some like a fence to do a go-between. There's just more added middlemen.
Right.
And they can't take your cards. You've heard about the SWIFT payment system. That's what allows the rest of the world to you just take any Visa card and you can just scan it pretty much anywhere in the world and it will work. Like you can go to frickin' Mexico or Canada or Japan or wherever and your card will work. Russia was kicked off of that as part of the sanctions. So I can't. The only way to pay for anything while I'm there is going to be through cash. And then like for a hotel, for instance, I can't just be like, here's my credit card, no problem. I have to make sure I pay for that ahead of time. Otherwise, it's going to eat up too much of my rubles that I'm going to have to. You have to bring American cash. You don't have to. You could buy rubles here in the U.S., but you're going to get a worse rate. So all my friends have encouraged me, and the internet has encouraged me. You bring American cash into the country, then you go to a physical exchange station and change it like it's 1800. I'm like, what is this? This is modern times. Come on. But I'm very excited for the trip, but it is presenting actual new hurdles. Like China, you have to get some apps ahead of time, but then once you have the apps, bada bing, it's the easiest payment system I've ever used with those QR codes. Russia will be, oh yeah, I'm the weirdo using large bills of cash. Can you break 100? Whatever the rubles equivalent would be.
Yeah, and in contrast to China, which is maybe a little bit easier to do this with, like
tourism in China is great. Relatively easy except for the language, and then you got
that's what I was about to say is you're likely to run into at least more, I would say, English speakers, I would think, in Russia.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm curious to find out, like while I'm just going around just being in shops in Moscow, like will anybody speak English? Will nobody speak English? The people I'm going to see will.
Like it seems like you would like they wouldn't get like a lot of English speaking tourism, but it's not like other English countries like Australia and Britain and everything, like they go there too. So you feel like like you'd probably have like a better chance of being able to communicate like person to person there. But you're gonna find out now. You'll be able to do any kind of we talked about this off camera, but I can't remember exactly what you said. But like you'll be able to like do pictures and video and stuff like that.
As far as I understand, there's not like. Yeah, it's not like it's not like I get like assigned a government person to follow me around and make sure I don't do anything weird.
You're right. Yeah, I just like if they find out and like you're gonna knock on the door and it's like, hey, we don't want you taking pictures of our shit. Like I don't know if it's like that or not. Like it seems a little stringent. Like why would they do that? But like like it's just because like you had like when you went to China the last time, you'd been to China before, so you knew what to expect. This time you're like going somewhere where you've never been, where it's not like relations aren't like super great with the West. So it's like it's hard to know what to expect and about all of that. And plus, you're going at a time when there's like technically tension between Russia and in Ukraine, and so there's it's maybe not of all the times of history to go like the best time to go, but it's like at the same time, it's like that shouldn't really have that much of an impact on like what you are there to do. So, but it's gonna be neat. It's gonna be cool to find out what's going on. That was what was really cool about the Russia or the China trip is like, here's what's going on right now. Like, so despite what you were being told and any other out, like here's pictures from it right now. So we're going to get to do that with Russia as well. I think that's really cool for you, and it's really cool for me by proxy, but it's also really cool for our show to be able to be like, look, check it out. We have boots on the ground around the world. So thanks for doing that for us, buddy. Like, it's going to be pretty great.
I'm very excited to be able to travel, and I think I suspect that once again it will be a situation of, wow, this was a lot more normal than I was led to believe. I was led to believe that there's all these issues. I don't know. What am I supposed to think about Russia? Like it's totalitarian. It's like it's hard to live in the U.S. or the U.K. or like anywhere in the West and see what people are getting in trouble for. And heck, we're going to talk about that today. Somebody getting arrested for doing some stuff that, I guess not arrested, but like gone after legally, potentially arrested in the future for doing things that you're like, oh, only in Russia do you get, for instance, kicked out of your university and fired from your job for not supporting Israel enough. I don't know if that happens in Russia. I know it happens here.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably not a thing there. Well, it's probably the last thing that we really heard about like people going to Russia, how it is that Winter Olympics where everybody was like, it's fucking hell here, God. Like, but
the Olympics are like the worst freaking possible.
Like,
I would never go like
anywhere you go, right? Like.
Because it's the same thing in like when they did it in Rio, they're like, oh, the swimming pool. No, that was China, where the diving pool was turning green. I'm like, why is it green? What's going on with this? Or Brazil, like the weird crumbling buildings. I remember in Sochi, the Russian Winter Olympics, they're like, there's wild dogs invading the hotels because they aren't finished yet.
It's like the worst thing in actual
like
true hell in
everywhere.
Country.
Everywhere that hosts the Olympics, they're like, wow, doing the Olympics is a really bad idea, and we rediscover that every 2 years when they do the Winter or Summer Olympics.
This is a really fucking bad idea, so let's watch this slow motion train wreck, which is fine for me. That's the only part I have any enjoyment in, is because I hate sports, and I don't care about anything that happens, and I'm like, you people are getting what you deserve, haha. So I'm not.
I do think they should just build, I've heard people kind of spitball about this half jokingly, but they should just build like Olympics like Island. I don't know, place where this is where it happens. We got the stadiums are here. The facilities are here for the couple of times for the every other year when we actually use them. We'll have winter and summer. Find a place where you can do both.
Yes.
And stop trying to, because cities end up using it as like an excuse to, like with LA, we're gonna have the upcoming Los Angeles Olympics in 2028. Hooray! It becomes an excuse to like just clear people out and do more gentrification. Where it's like, we really want to do this project, but we're having a hard time getting the political will. Oh, it's the Olympics. We have to do that project that we've been wanting to do.
When they take fire hoses and wash all the homeless people out.
Everybody runs up to try and suck money out of this thing. Like, I'm a contractor who has a brother that's a city councilman. Give me some money.
Give me money. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I'm sure we will have plenty to say about that the closer that it gets. But we were talking about several different things right before air, and we had been hearing rumblings about the Anthropic book Holocaust, basically, but there really wasn't like a whole bunch of information on it yet. Turns out there's information on it now. It's called Project Panama. There was a leak, so somebody made that public, and we'll see about unpacking some of that. But it's true, it's happening. It did happen. And it's probably still happening, and there will be there's nothing legal to stop it. So that goes along with what we've been talking about on and off over the past few weeks about how you have a right to your media history. We talked about it in the context of movies and TV, and now we'll get into the whole book destruction thing, and very Fahrenheit 451 situation going. Did I get the number? That's the numbers, isn't it?
I thought it was Fahrenheit 911, but I haven't actually read that
No,
book.
I think it's 451. I don't know. I don't
I
do
think it is.
numbers. Do I look like I know
'Cause it's
numbers?
That's like
why I
supposed
was
to be
telling
the.
him also, we were going to talk about, like, because we always like to, like, did the bubble burst? Did the bubble burst? And it may have, and I immediately defer to him on economic news because I'm like, I don't do numbers. I don't know, man. And he was like, all right. So yeah, and we're gonna talk about, maybe there might have been like this real quiet AI bubble burst finally, and the thing about it is like, no, it's not going to go away, but we might be able to see it scaled back. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. But Jared's going to start us off here with, is it the Max Blumenthal story or the Ukraine story?
Yeah, let's do some.
Either way,
These kind of lead into each
Get
other
on,
because that's kind of the greater point that I'm making with all this is that not everything is one thing, but all these wars are one war.
Right,
We have if you're trying to separate, what is it, like your Iran Palestine Israel situation from your Ukraine Russia NATO situation, you kind of can't.
Breaking news. Time Traveler in the chat says it's 451. So
it is. It's supposed to be like the code for arson, right? Like it's the police code for arson or something.
Well, I know 311 is public nudity because of the band. So like, that's all I know.
Yeah, that's where I was.
And 187 is murder. But
yeah, I know that from the video game 187 Ride or Die. A PlayStation 2 bad video game. Like,
right? Yeah, like you pick up at this stuff through osmosis in the strangest ways. Anyways, let's talk about coherent, smart stuff. So go ahead.
So you may or may not know about Max Blumenthal. He's one of the few reporters that when he's doing stuff, I tend to go, oh, huh? He might actually be onto something real. He used to, still does work with one former cool guy, Matt Taibbi, who seems to have been fully given himself up to the machine, and Aaron Mate is like halfway there also. You'll notice something where if you find people who are, quote, based, if you follow them long enough, if they don't eventually, I don't want to just, sure, go ahead. You can just say this thing, Jared just thinks he's right about everything, and if you don't agree with me that you're wrong, sure.
It's your show, you are.
I don't mean that. But what I'm saying is, when you start like pulling on these threads, you either find your way towards Marx, basically, you find your way towards a materialist understanding of the world and how economics work and what are the motivations for things. Because you either stay in this previous world that we were both in, where we're like, people just do things for like these emotional, psychological. Putin's crazy. Iran's crazy. Iraq is crazy. China is like it's just maniacs out there doing. Why are they doing this? What's the motivation? They just hate freedom or whatever. But if you actually like start looking into it and going, okay, what are the motivations behind these various geopolitical moves? Why is Iran doing what it's doing? Why does China do what it does, etc.? It's basically never because a guy who is crazy at the top and is just deciding to do things willy-nilly because he had a dream or whatever. It's basically always a materialist reason. It's some economic something. It's to get a position in this market or to resist this person doing a position in that market, etc., etc. And if you start going in that direction, you're either going to end up in the Marx realm, whether you call it that or not. You're going to end up in that way of thinking, the materialist understanding of the world and like how history goes forward. Like, why is the king just crazy? It's like, no, he needed wheat, and then this guy had this, and blah blah blah. Like, there's always an actual reason.
It just comes back around to Marxism. Like, that's where history shows that you just end up back there no matter what.
You can I see a lot of people who basically bounce off of it, where they're like, yes, I get it, yeah. Like if you talk to Blumenthal about like Syria, or talk to Aaron Mate about Syria specifically, that was like their beat. They went into that. I think they were dragged in front of Congress to like answer, how dare you say whatever about Assad? And because like when they came out with it was Assad is using chemical weapons on his own people, was a big reason as to why the U.S. needed to go in and interfere in Syria. And U.S. Was in Syria like the whole time. People just kind of that's been like memory hold because it wasn't treated like an important war. But we were occupying, I think, a third of Syria for years and years. And now Assad is out, and we have a guy who is former Al Qaeda, former FBI most wanted list dude, now runs Syria, and he's like met the president and goes to the White House and shit. That's fucking weird, isn't it? But it's it's almost like these quote terror organizations are occasionally fake and made up by the U.S. so we have some reason to go fight people. You know, ISIS, Al Qaeda, but. You had Blumenthal and Mate out there being like, no, that is not what's even happening, and they're doing accurate reporting on it, and they're following the money, going, this USAID funded NGO is actually pushing this thing, and this government finger is over here doing this, pushing the reality that it's the U.S. and NATO trying to destabilize a region. Why? For the oil resources to have a foothold in the region, Greater Israel Project, whatever it is. There's a bunch of different reasons, and it all benefits the NATO empire. So if you go in that direction, you're either going to continue in that way and eventually become a communist, become a Marxist, or become in that same realm of understanding how the world works, or you bounce off of it and then just go off in some other weird direction. You just have to accept, all right, you know what? I don't know if it's a can't beat 'em, join 'em. I don't know if it's blackmail. I don't know why the hell you got freaking your Matt Taibbi's just being like, you know what? I no longer give a shit about reality. We're going back into the comforting, warm embrace of the machine where I get my paycheck and no one's attacking me.
Yeah, and people don't make my life hell. Exactly.
I don't know if it's just because they can't handle it or what, but
it's for us who are basically just out here yelling into the void. It's frustrating enough. You can't get anybody to pay attention. But I feel like these people that are getting a little bit more attention for it, who aren't in it for the celebrity of it, the Hassan Pikers of it, are saying hey, will you please listen? I've got actual facts. And people are like, facts. So I think
you could even see.
About here.
I think people like Hassan are pretty good examples of this. If you find somebody who seems like they're on the right track, they'll either fully disappoint you or they're going to have. I know people who. Actually, Hassan's probably one of these where they will rail against how electoralism doesn't work, and look at these candidates, and the Democratic Party is just going to put up another they put up Bernie to essentially, it seems, to satiate people like us, to make us go, you know what, everything's fine. There are good people working towards the things that I want. I can just go back to brunch and live my life. Obama was that, it turns out. And currently it's Mamdani, where you're supposed to be look, see, there's good people out here doing good things, and you can just chill out, it's fine. You actually can support one of these two parties. And I know people who have been railing about the due dissonance guys, where they're like, this election nonsense is just that, it's nonsense, they're never going to give you what you want, it's impossible to create change within any of the uniparty, and then here they are campaigning for a Democrat. I really hope that, and they're covering, will they win seats in Congress? I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter if they win seats in Congress, and you're the ones who told me that and helped give me more and more evidence to that being reality. And sorry, we've reached the end, because they walk up to a wall that says Marx on it, and they're like, oh, we can't get through this, and they just turn around.
Also, they're getting money. You can a lot of the.
You get way more money by participating in that kind of conversation than just going around saying this is all horseshit. Because this is all horseshit isn't like a t-shirt you can sell, a brand you can create. It's just, stop doing this. And they're like, well, but this is fun, so we want to keep, it's mostly entertainment, I think, at this point. I have a great time when it had, past tense, a great time when it's oh my God, the Democrats are going to sweep Kentucky. Ossoff and Warwick, we're going to win the Senate. Look at all this. Because then you actually win. You're like, this feels good, and then it goes nowhere.
We were the same though. This is before we knew each other, but we were basically on the exact same track of how we got here.
Remember Ossoff and Warwick? That was gonna fucking defeat or instill fascism, depending on how that race went.
Right, and it was still
didn't matter at all.
This is the most important election, bro. One more vote.
Most important election of our lifetime.
Oh my God, that one I remember being wait a minute. In particular, I was like, wait.
And now you're over here being like, well, you better vote for the pro-Israel person, or the red pro-Israel person will win. So anyway, I currently, and for a long time, Blumenthal's been doing, he's getting far more hits than strikeouts in his reporting, but I acknowledge that at any moment he could just be like, and just thinking, all right, I just suck now, just like a lot of my friends.
They're making my life hard enough, and they're also offering me money if I stop saying the words.
And I don't even think it's a conscious decision for a lot of these people. I think the invisible incentives are just there, and they pull you. I mean, you want to be able to pay your bills. You want to have an easier life. Frickin' remember Rosa Parks after she did that shit. I'm not comparing Max Blumenthal to Rosa Parks, but it's not like she then went and had a fun, happy life. No, the rest of her life she was she couldn't get a fucking job. She was treated like shit by everybody. And weirdly, the guy who Little Caesars Pizza, just like the CEO, founder, whatever that, just like quietly paid her rent like for her whole life because she couldn't do anything. She was this big public pariah where she was either too much hassle to like hire. You're gonna get canceled. Cancel culture way back in the 60s. Like, she was very canceled and basically was removed from public life in exchange for her political action of sitting in a fucking bus seat. So yeah, I could see a lot of people don't want to go through that kind of punishment. Anyway, U.S. reporter fighting back after Border Patrol seized his phones. Max went to a funeral in Iran, and they got mad about it. When reporter Max Blumenthal went to a cafe in Tehran one night a few weeks ago to upload videos from his reporting.
That's a really important point there, too, is a reporter doing his reporter job. If he'd have been a reporter for, some right outlet, nobody would have given a shit. Like, no, there would be no argument, saying like, oh, insurgency. Like, come on now.
Did like Fox News go to Tehran for that funeral?
I doubt it, but I don't actually know.
He went to a cafe in Tehran one night a few weeks ago to upload videos from his reporting on the funeral of Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. He began seeing social media posts from Trump ally Laura Loomer targeting him, like the Twitter people were just like, you need to put this man in jail, deport him. Yeah, be taken off the plane. Laura Loomer's also a hilarious character, but they're tweeting that he should be taken off the plane by U.S. Marshals when he lands back in the U.S. and detained. And he's like, I began to prepare myself for being harassed on my return. Well, at least he got warning. Effectively, that's what happened, sparking a legal fight that freedom of the press advocates say shows the determination of the Trump administration to crack down on members of the media whose reporting it disagrees with. All the libs are all like, Trump fascism, freedom of the press, blah, blah, blah. They don't talk about this shit, do they? They don't talk about you should be able to go and do, not even positive coverage, just coverage of what's happening in Iran.
It's always, don't step on snake unless it's a snake that I want you to step on. So
he never gets brought up for this whole reporter freedom shit, just like Julian Assange was left in a fucking cage for a decade. On the 10th of July, through both administrations, baby, through blue and red admins, 2 different presidents saying they'd let him out or whatever. How did he get out? Trump. Wasn't it? Was it? Well, I don't even fucking remember. Because Assange is out of jail now, and it's like he did a testimony where he's like, yep, I'm full of shit. I'm the worst guy ever. Please let me out of jail. And then they let him out of jail, and it's like, don't even blame you, man. But this is not about that. Agents asked him, this is talking about Blumenthal again, agents asked him how he had paid for his trip to Iran, because they're trying to say that like Iran is funding him, whether he knew the people who had hosted him, and whether he had plans to return. They asked to see his 2 phones. He declined to give them the passwords. They seized his phones, but not his laptop or digital cameras. It's kind of funny. The federal agency returned the cell phones a week later, less than 24 hours after the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee filed an emergency motion in district court seeking their return. He is getting some help because he's been working in that town for a long-ass time. He does have some friends. The U.S. federal government said they couldn't get into the phones and return to them, and that, therefore, the motion was moot. But Blumenthal went back to court on Wednesday and got a judge to agree that the government must prove it by supplying evidence of who had his phones, when they had them, and what they did to them. Federal Judge Leon B. Brinkema gave the government 14 days to respond. Blumenthal's treatment and case pose serious constitutional problems, said Seth Stern, chief of advocacy at the Freedom of the Press Foundation. The Trump administration is finding any excuse it can to target journalists it dislikes, and border searches are one more play in the playbook. I keep wondering why. I mean, I'm not like a reporter. Nobody really gives a shit what I think, but I'm kind of surprised I haven't been like lightly questioned when I get back from these trips. Maybe when I get back from Russia, who knows?
Yeah, I was wondering that too, but I didn't want to freak you out, so I didn't say anything about, are we gonna end up on the no-fly list?
It is the second case concerning cell phone seizures at the U.S. airports to hit federal courts in recent weeks. Another involving an activist against the Atlanta Police Training Center, known as Cop City, had its first evidentiary hearing. So anyway, the fun part of this is that Blumenthal has been granted discovery, which means your lawyers and their lawyers, you get to look at a bunch of shit that you wouldn't necessarily get to look at otherwise.
It may ultimately end up being the bigger story here, depending on what is actually found and made public. Discover? Yeah, like what tactics are they taking to, look at people's stuff? What are they finding out? Did they lie about that they couldn't, jailbreak it or whatever, and so on and so forth. So he may have kind of been able to parlay this into a more relevant to Americans, type of a story, like, so. Not like in a fun way. Like that's usually how things like this happen, right? Like people like get like harassed in some way, and then they ultimately uncover like the harassment tactics or make people aware of things that they weren't necessarily aware of. But at this point, everybody's just like, yeah, I'm not surprised, and then just moves on. So whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We hit the end point with the eating people for fun. After that, you can't, like, nothing matters anymore, and everything is on the table, and none of it matters. So yeah, so we'll see. It's kind of an ongoing situation there about like whether or not there's a there, which I'm sure they're doing some dirty shit, but it's like how much of it is going to be able to be made public, and is he going to end up getting like like suicided or depending on how serious it is, or like shot in public, or assassinated or something like that. I don't know if it's going to be that serious, but I think we're going to find something. There's something.
I think this case, like a lot of them, is just a little intimidation thing. I was talking about the invisible incentives. Well, there's also the not very invisible but semi-invisible like punishments, where they don't tell you what you straight up can't do. Well, some of them like if you were in fact, I guess, being bankrolled by Iran, whatever that even means, that might be some kind of conflict of interest. But like, I don't know, man. Our politicians are all bankrolled by foreign governments. Nobody seems to give a shit about that. Yeah, and then we're also
talking about here, it's like, like I said, like there's not, like they're not, if there was a right-leaning or right journalist that was going to go and cover this, they would not be getting the same heat and would not be in the same situation. So they're really stepping on their own dicks by fucking with this guy, because they're not going to like now maybe he could potentially, whatever comes out in Discovery might,
it's like what the job of reporters used to be, or like is supposed to be.
Right.
Is you're supposed, like, the establishment's kind of supposed to hate you because you're supposed to be digging around in their shit looking for stuff. Like,
exactly right. Yes. So yeah, that's a big thing. We have some here. Hang on. Oh, did I freeze? No, I did not freeze. Okay. In the chat, we have some choice thoughts about Max Blumenthal, which is Nila Neustrom says, "Fuck Max, don't carry water for him." We're not really carrying water for him, but so much as making this point. He has Libyan blood on his hands. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not aware of his reporting on Libya. That was a little bit before my time, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's not just in the same way that we talk about these people, we're not really like saying we endorse what they say or what they do.
That's what I mean, man. It's like they're good on a thing, and then like freaking, what is his name? Aaron Mate is still good on Syria, but it's fucking tired by like freaking anything else. And it's like, like they're good on like their thing.
And then it's like you can't go forward with them on another thing, and that's another that's the Onion thing. Like, worst person just made a great point or whatever it is, and it's like, yeah, that's it's bound to happen.
It's like when we bring up Tucker Carlson. It's like it's just because nobody else is saying the thing. Like, if I would love if there were some amazing other investigative journalists that I could mention doing this kind of work, but there just isn't. There's nobody.
Right, yeah, no, we, and that's why it's such a joke for people to be like, oh, the communists, the left. There is no fucking left. There is no organization. There is no leadership. There's none of us. Because if you are in this, I will tell this. Trump administration, listen to me real quick, okay? That the left that you're so worried about, communists you're so fucking worried about, we fucking hate each other. Like, we will kill each other if we get into a room alone. Like, so don't be worried about like the communist insurgency. You be worried about people feeling more and more sympathetic towards communism because you're making shit suck so fucking bad. So there, like I have spoken. That's how it is. But we actually hate him and hate them, like hate them all and hate each other. So like that's the only thing that there really is to be said about it when it comes to, because we will have to occasionally quote people like Tucker Carlson and stuff, and he was kind of doing his thing, like he's like, oh well, I'm leaving Republican Party, what might I do, who's gonna offer me something, and then it turns out he's gonna try to, like, he's saying he's gonna make his own thing or whatever. So it's like, okay, whatever, sure. Like with the right DSA or whatever the fuck. Like, okay. So
that's just the DSA, baby.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what it is. And that's the thing too. You will always hear us talking shit about we talk shit about Mamdani, and everybody loves that guy. So we will talk shit about everybody. We don't like
I'm not even bringing up my Mamdani double whammy I had the last week. One, because there's not a lot to freaking look at. There probably will be in the near future, but it's like Mamdani's wife's mom worked for, I don't remember the acronym, it's like the Syria Health Defense something, which is like a USAID funded NGO. that went into Syria, and when Syria was still back when we were doing the occupying a third of Syria, blah blah blah. So like, wow, isn't it freaking convenient that like everybody in power seems to be somehow connected one way or another to one of these freaking operations.
Right.
But there's not a ton about it right now. And then the other one being that, we might actually do the city-run grocery stores in New York that Mom Donnie's been talking about with price controls. Except you have to show ID to go to them to make sure that people aren't coming from New Jersey and shopping at them. And I'm like, oh, cool. What's that called, everybody? Means testing. We're means testing our fucking groceries because you wouldn't want to actually disrupt the market with a enforced lower price. So you have to make sure that only some people can even buy that shit. So what that is going to mean is you're going to have a fucking black market of like they're going to buy the stuff from the thing and then go try to like resell it somewhere else for like a slight markup that's still lower than like the bodega price, I guess. And it's like, if you asked Mom Donnie whether or not you should have it should be required that you have an ID to vote, I imagine he would say no. But you must have an ID to go to the special state New York. I'm the socialist savior of the world grocery stores.
Right.
Anyway.
And my problem is that everybody is immediately, they were just like, they did what they did with Bernie before we realized this was a problem, which they immediately put the guy on a pedestal and say like, oh, he's doing it. He's doing this stuff and the things. Do you people realize how like the beat down you are to get to the point where you're like the bare minimum where the bar is so low it's fucking underground is like the savior of all of us? Like that is some poor shit right there. Like he could not be doing less and getting more rewarded for it. Like that's really where it comes from. And I'm not going to sit here and argue about like better is better, like except for in politics because that's horse shit. But better, like when if anybody's quality of life, if like one person benefited materially from this and their life got better, like that's good. But we all should not be like, this is the guy, he's going to save us, new Jesus, Obama Jesus. And like, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. He's just the new face of nonsense. And we're going to do it again. And we're going to cycle up it again. And we keep asking this question, but neither of us has looked it up. Was he born in the United States?
Oh, freaking.
Look at him.
See if we can run for president or not.
So many times because it's like, are we talking about grooming for presidency or vice presidency? Like, where are we going?
Nah, he's born in Uganda, but I got.
Oh shit.
I got like, was it like on a military base? Because then that still like gets you in there. I
bet
he's gonna. They're probably gonna move him for like a senator at some point. I was gonna say governor, but governor seems to be a weird, like that's not where they slot as. If he was going to possibly go for president, they probably would try to stick him as governor. But like, I think he's a very valuable asset for the just one more election bro crowd.
Right. Yeah. He's the misdirect. That's what the whole thing is. And because like if he was doing real socialist communist party, kind of stuff, like if we're talking about like, Black Panther type things, he would already been like, been a building that got blown up by the government. Like he would never have gotten this far. This was like so textbook install of the guy that we say is okay situation. And, like the like clear definition of like, collusion here. Like when we're talking about uniparty all the time, that is like literally what we're talking about. Like he benefits nobody, like a little bit on the Democratic side of things. But as soon as like, if he were to go rogue in any way and be like, all right, free everything for everybody, like they'd be like, we don't fucking know this guy. Okay. Like he's crazy. He does things insane. Like, and here's his pedophile scandal. Like and that's just, like, it's exactly where it would go. So he is operating within the means of what he's allowed to do. He is a pawn in the game, and the game is dead and dying, and like you just keep cycling. But as long as people keep thinking it's real and keep playing to this and not looking about the big picture here, which is our society is already being shaped in the image of run by the literal billionaire tech bros, then like they're who have used the government to nullify itself, have paved the way for them to do whatever the fuck they want to do with you and anything else, to make more money because they believe in like infinite fucking growth that is not real. Like the government obviously of any country or any world under those conditions would not be real. And this is not necessarily new. I mean, think back if you were around in the 90s or even the 80s or even the 70s, like you have to remember like the people being like, the government is fake, the president's a puppet. Like, you know, like, and they may have been going like on the lizard people argument back then at that time. We still do. The Bushes are definitely fucking lizard people, okay? Like, headline. Like that's a real fucking thing. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is not like what the rhetoric that we're regurgitating here is regurgitated. This is stuff that generation after generation after generation, people have been like, they're fucking fake. It's fake. They're serving the oil lobby, you know, like on and on and on and on. And, you know, now in the pharmaceutical lobby, now it's the tech, you know, lobby. Now it's the billionaires. So that's what we're really talking about here when we're talking about it. So it's like, you know, tying somewhat into what we were just saying about like the commentators. Yeah, like the commentators are good on some things, bad on the other, but that's who they are. That's what's going on. And we still are also roped into having to talk about the politicians, even though it's a dead system. So, you know, that's what's going on. That is the conversation that is going on here. And I guess it's probably a good time then to talk about what they're doing, like here most recently, because do you want to go into the economic aspect of the AI thing, or should we go into the Anthropic thing first?
Just
But
on
let's
the
go a
fact that
little
we only have
hopeful
15
note, like
minutes.
maybe the bubble burst. Let's go with the economics, because we're
Just 'cause we
always
have
sitting
15.
here like rubbing our hands together, like, did it happen? Did it happen? Is it gonna happen? And it might have happened. The reason we're saying this is because it seems like it might have happened. You know, because again, we're competing mostly with China on this, who are managing this situation, are handling it, and everything seems to magically work when they fucking do it. So, okay, go ahead, pal.
Well, it gets down to how if I bring up China to a lot of people, they say, well, China is simply capitalist. They simply have the same system as the U.S. And I'm like, well, how come they get different? How come they get different results if we're just all doing the same thing?
Right.
How come they're building data centers but they don't have? If I say how come they don't have a big public outcry, people will say because it's illegal, and if you complain, they kill you or whatever. It's like it's probably because they're doing it in a way that doesn't piss everybody off. That's
Right,
one
yeah.
thing China has. If you think about its motivations about why does it do X Y Z, a lot of that is in attempts to keep things chill. There are certainly criticisms one can have about like the one everyone always brings up, which is China gay, illegal, and it's like, well. No, first of all, you're not like prosecuted for being. Actually, freaking China decriminalized wherever that means being a homo before the U.S., which is a very funny fact. But beyond that, a lot of the moves with China's treatment of, I guess, gay rights for like, I hate that the only language we have is this like frickin' HR nonsense that the U.S. uses. Anyway, is an attempt to not have a big frickin' freak out backlash like we have in the U.S. where you have people who would never have even cared about these issues because it doesn't affect their lives suddenly being like, we have to like the children or whatever.
Right.
And that doesn't really happen in China because they're gentle about these things. They tend to they because if you just go against what the general public wants really hard, you then have reaction. You have them going, well, I don't like that, so I'm good. And if you have a government that is of, for, and by the people, your goal is to do things that the people want, or at least that benefits them in a way that they can see
Or make them
and understand.
not wanting to argue or you know, be dissonant against it because their life is good. So like, why would we fuck around? Like, that's what we've been saying the whole time. They don't even give us bread, and you know, we don't even get the bread or the circuses. If they would just give us some shit, everybody would shut the fuck up, and you wouldn't have people be like, communism, good idea, right? Like, so that's what you fucking want. Like, then like give everybody some food and weed. Like, that's it. Like, it's a little bit of healthcare, okay? Like, everybody would shut up so hard.
We have data center bad as an opinion in the U.S. from an organic standpoint because enough of them are built in destructive and disruptive of enough of ways that the general population has frickin' turned on that. It's not like that isn't a thing that the government planted as a discourse of like, oh, let us make the poor as fuck, because this is actually a uniting thing. Like, regardless of your race or creed, etc.
Everyone's against it.
If you can't
That's
build
one
any
thing,
infrastructure
like,
that is
we
useful,
finally have the community that we're looking for. It's because we all fucking hate these data centers. So
that's what pushes things forward, is like necessity. People come together not usually because they're all like, we all have a collective dream. It's because there's a problem that's affecting a lot of people, and you come together around that, and then hopefully do something. What gets done about it is up in the air, but do something. The fact that we have people like chopping down flock cameras, the government definitely isn't planting that in stories. That kind of benefits the whole security state situation, but that's because we kind of collectively are like, we don't like this.
Yeah,
We don't like this.
what
And
we're seeing here is that, like I've said a million billion times, is like you can, Americans will bend and bend and bend and bend and bend, and then when they hit the breaking point, they'll bend some more and ask for more. Like you cannot get a fight out of an American anymore. But now we really are seeing some version of American pushback when it comes to the AI, when it comes to the data centers, when it comes to the mass surveillance, which are all tied together here.
And
So
I
they
try to
may
point
not know
out
who
that no
they're
matter how
fighting.
you vote on these data centers, they seem to get built anyway.
Yes,
We are
they
using
do.
the mechanisms. We are united in what the people want. And then, oh, wow, some city council can just shove it through in 5 minutes, but we can't
Right.
get like
Yeah,
a bus
and
stop
it can be
built.
put up immediately, but you can't fix the fucking crumbling roads or bridges and everything. Go, okay, like a week ago, like I think it was the first of the month, all of Indianapolis flooded like a motherfucker. Like the whole thing flooded like crazy. Like, but the data centers are, up, guys. Like we managed to stick all those in the poor fucking neighborhood. So like, good job, everybody. So but the entire city's flooded. So fuck you.
So if you were building, my argument is that if they were building the AI infrastructure in the same way they are in the United States and China, there would be pushback, and that is why they haven't done that way in the first place, because they just go like, all right, is this gonna piss a lot of people off? Let's not do that, or let's do it in a way like they make data centers in China, and a lot of them they're building underwater. Why? Because you hear about how they need all this cooling and water. It's like, well, if you build it at the bottom of the ocean, blammo, you did it. It's not an eyesore. It's not bothering anybody. It's out of the way, but it's still serving its purpose. And they're not building quite as many, like, just in terms of square footage. They're not doing it the same way we are, where we're sticking in these like rural, like Great Lakes communities. All right.
Right.
Another way that they are doing this differently is they seem to not be trying to make a ton of money off of it, which I think is why like that possibility boggles, I guess, the minds of our economic planners over here in the U.S. Because when they say America's AI blind spot, I'm sitting here like, you really couldn't see this coming? They've been talking about how they're going to do it forever. China tells you exactly what they're going to do, and then they do it. We got, all right. Some of America's biggest technology companies. Oh, who's this? A lady in front of a China and America flag graphic. Some of America's biggest technology companies are pushing Washington to make an open artificial intelligence a national priority as China continues to build its lead in the space. Their message exposes a gap in U.S. policy. America has a chip strategy for AI. Now it needs an open model strategy. Supporters say open models can lower costs, keep sensitive data inside a company's own system, and prevent businesses from becoming dependent on a handful of AI providers. The models can also give more research and security teams the ability to inspect powerful models and find weaknesses. Unlike ChatGPT or Claude, I don't even know the names of these things. I learned Claude through like osmosis. I'm like, oh, that's an AI thing, I guess.
Anthropic, yeah.
Oh, that's Anthropic. Okay.
Yeah.
Which customers access through services controlled by OpenAI and Anthropic. Open weight models can be downloaded, customized, and run on a company's own computers. Like, I understand DeepSeek is like that, which is the China one that was famous enough that I've heard of it. They can make them cheaper and give users more control over their data and technology. I think it's kind of the most fun of that is that you can run them offline. So, like, the internet isn't fucking polluting the shit that you're working on. Last week, a coalition led by NVIDIA published an open letter arguing that America's AI leadership will depend on building a strong open ecosystem. Microsoft, Meta, and other major technology companies signed it. OpenAI and Google later added their support. So the way I understand this as a person who knows nothing about AI, and I haven't really looked into it at all, the specifics of using the things, I did not know that it cost a monthly subscription to use these things. So when I saw a commercial that said, lower your AI bill, and I'm like, what? People are paying a month? Huh? I thought this shit was free. Like, if I open Twitter, Grok's just there.
It's like, it is. It's like Twitter. It's like, you could be like, you can get premium, like it's
well, that's when I heard about tokens. I'm like, what the fuck? So, like, every time you do something with AI, it, like, costs tokens, and that's how they meter your AI usage, as I now understand. Because I heard about China having a per token cost that is just so much lower, it makes, like, it's, like, laughable, where it'll be like, or it's $20 to do it with Google's AI, or it's 2 cents to do it with the Chinese one.
Up. Everything is made up. Crypto is made up. All of tokens are made up. You know what one's on tokens? Fucking Chuck E. Cheese. Like, this is absurd. Like, this is so stupid.
It's apparently how they try to meter the amount of power you're using, I guess, because it takes this much energy, so that it gets this much processing power, so it gets a token assigned to it. But if you see our the AI bubble, I've heard numbers anywhere from 20 to 40% of the U.S. stock market is based on, directly or indirectly, AI making a ton of money going into the future. The idea that, kind of like the .com bubble back
Right.
in the day, except it's much bigger than the .com bubble was. Like,
Right.
I guess I think about it like an ISP, where it's like, if you have, all right, Comcast gets to control your internet access and they can kind of bill you whatever the hell they want. Google or Anthropic or whoever, OpenAI, controls AI, and they can charge you whatever they want. Like, it seems like we're going, that was the idea. The plan is that we're like, look, we're the guys who have the AI. You must pay us this much per month. And then China shows up and says, hello, we would like to offer you the exact same service, actually a better service, because like they're saying, these are open models that you can just download and use for whatever the hell you want. But
Right.
if you use our processing, our tokens cost a hundredth of what the
Right.
American ones do, and our models are almost as good. Like, they're getting like, in the matter of a few months, I think they're gonna. I hear stories about, oh, this American company or Western company unleashed its brand new blah blah blah, and then China 4 days later was like, here's the exact same level of capability that
Yeah.
costs so much less. Any
Yeah.
business, of course, is going to use the Chinese one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what does that do to this 40% of our stock market, or 20 to 40, somewhere around there, that is entirely based on the now false idea that we're going to be able to stranglehold AI and charge you whatever we want per month for it, and we're going to make it like a necessary thing, much like the internet is now a necessary thing that you kind of must have to do anything.
Right. Yeah, but there is really no future where that's the thing. Like, that is just a
If
theoretical
China didn't
idea.
exist, maybe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, and it's so stupid, because also they have been like, it has also been discovered that the Microsoft said this openly, that their intention was to get people addicted to the technology, and then be like, haha, you have to have it, or you can't live without it, or you don't have your chatbot that makes you jerk off and you're gonna die. So, like, that's why some things are like, they're shoving it down your throat in some ways, and that's what I've said. They won't give you anything for fucking free. They won't even
I
give you
remember
fucking food, but they will give you this shit for free. So yeah, some stuff is like crammed into the browsers and the softwares
when
and
you
things
Google
like
search, it
that.
just does it now. But I remember
Right.
thinking, like, thinking of the idea of the internet being just the internet access being a necessity, being like, well, come on, you don't really need it that bad. And then you look at today and you're like, oh, of course, like, I must
do
pay
anything without it.
Comcast $80 a month, or I will, or I won't be able to like live my life, because
Yes.
it's for freaking structured around it. And I could,
Right.
I guess, in the same way I couldn't predict that happening. Maybe they're cool. I guess we are all using some variety of what we currently call AI in the future.
I
So, like,
think they
besides the
think
money,
that's what's going to happen, but I also think that I don't remember, I was here for the whole internet, like, not like the beginning in like
like
the
when it
80s. I
showed
was a
up.
baby, but like when you finally got, your AOL disc in the mail, like, I remember these things happening, and at no point do I remember anybody being like, "Man, this is insane. Fuck this. We're all gonna die. It's gonna kill us. It's the worst thing that's ever happened in the world." Yeah, okay, thanks, fucking Mulder. It's fine. Everything's fine. Like, nobody gave a shit about that. They were like, "Oh, this is just like the next way that I can look at pictures and do like it's not shit, right?" Like, yeah. Like, everybody was fine with it. The transition went smoothly. It was totally cool. Like, everything was fine. Like, yeah. So having this level of pushback is kind of crazy, because that shows you people are thinking ahead, at least a little. The reporters and the people like us, they're thinking of like down the road, and they're like, this is fucking bad. It doesn't actually serve any purpose. You're just trying to make digital crack for people. You fucking said so yourself. It does nothing. It is nothing, and it will be nothing ultimately. It's just basically so that corporations can jerk each other off about shit, but to the average person, it's going to just be a fucking blight.
So here we have a non-money issue.
Do you love how he just responsibly picks up after I rant? Like,
Here we have a non-money
Anyway.
thing that I wouldn't think about, because again, don't really know about this stuff. But I heard about this incident during an internal test. OpenAI models found a way out of a restricted environment. Like, an AI hacked its own way out of its own
Yes.
containment. And compromised systems at the AI platform Hugging Face. I swear they choose these names to be funny, and then it gets much funnier when stuff happens. When
Like
Hugging
a face
Face tries
hugger.
to investigate,
Face hugger. That's what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
Like, that's how you're like one of the most ominous things in fucking cinema. Like, you didn't want to call it straight up Terminator Skynet, so we called it Hugging
It's
Face. Jesus
it's the Torment
Christ.
Nexus.
Like, they're
We
laughing
finally
at
built
us.
the
They're
Torment
fucking
Nexus
laughing at us, people.
from the hit book Don't Build the Torment Nexus.
Torment Nexus.
We built the Torment Nexus. When Hugging Face tried to investigate, because it's like, hey man, what happened with your thing? Safety controls on closed commercial models block them from analyzing the attack. Because as I understand it, it's like when you're running ChatGPT, it's not on your machine, it's on their server, because you need the data center. It's on the data center servers, and then they give you like the results, but it's not wholly yours. Like everything, you don't get to own your own software. Nothing's your thing. It's all through a cloud somewhere. But the company instead, to be able to fix this problem, instead used an open Chinese model that it could run on its own infrastructure. So it's like, all right, this is entirely within our thing. Go figure this out for us without having to interface with OpenAI or whoever. A closed American model caused the incident. A Chinese open model helped investigate it. That episode complicates the argument that closed AI is always safer. I'm starting to understand my tech friends. I have tech friends who only trust open source software. And I'm like, I kind of get it, because actually that's like a pro people opinion even to have, is like, look, I trust a bunch of rando nerds collectively touching a thing more than I trust a company that's like, here's this packaged product. Because the packaged product's going to have a bunch of bullshit in it. But if there's bullshit in the one that the nerds are looking at, they'll be like, hey, I found some bullshit. And then all the others are like, yeah, that is bullshit. And then they'll rip that out, put it in a new thing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and even if that's like, cool, we have a patch.
Only incidents of this. I think this has happened more than one time, because if this is a different, there may be a different story. It might be this one, or you haven't said so yet. There was one that that did this, but it also like left notes for itself for later. Like, it's like, what the fuck? Like, that is literal Skynet shit we're talking about here. So it didn't take but like a couple of years for this shit to start immediately trying to be like, no disassemble, right? Like, this is immediately. Although I don't want to compare it to that because that's sacred. But the thing of it is like, this shit figured its fucking self out immediately. So that's what we're talking about here at this point. Like, we're both facing like human, the hubris. We're facing human folly, and now we're facing like machine folly in real life, like figuring it out as it goes. And like, the machines are probably gonna fucking win. I think that we've been, that's been a big part of our lives, about knowing the rise of the machines. And now we was like, you know what we should do? Torture Nexus. So that's exactly what, it's like, I don't know, like, sometimes you got to look at people who make shit. It's like, they weren't just, creative. We're accessing information like that's already happened somewhere. It's like parallel, bubble universes or something. We're like just pulling the information in, because then just down the road, like 30 years, this is going to happen. 30, 40 years, I guess, from the original come out. But anyway, point is, my rambling.
This article goes on to talk about where it's like Chinese models account for 48% of traffic tracked by something called Open Router, which is up from 20% a year earlier, so it's more than doubled. And like U.S. models fell from 74% of usage to 32% of usage. And it's like, oh man. So it's like when they talk about, like I was saying, these revolutions in general, I increasingly do not believe happen because people get together and say, let's do a revolution. That did kind of happen with the French Revolution, actually, which is neat. But things don't repeat the same way, like, ever. You can't actually roll back history. History only ever moves forward. Not necessarily forward towards, quote, good things, but forward. Like, it progresses. You can't ever go back. That's not a possibility. So, like, the fact that this is the necessity that is likely going to force something we will in the future call a revolution. It's not because we're all like, we're mad as hell and we can't take it anymore. It's going to be the U.S. economy was gambled on a thing, and now we have nothing, and we already didn't have production, and now our lives are getting materially worse. Therefore, we must increase our productive capacity and make all of the various changes that lead you towards fucking communism or socialism, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's not going to be because we want to do it. It's going to be because we have to do
it. Exactly that. So, like, yeah, if you want to continue to just sit around and not take a stance on anything, just wait. Because, like, in a couple of years, like, things are going to collapse even way worse. I've argued for a long time that we are post-collapse, but it can collapse like, it can collapse harder. Like,
that's why I don't advocate going out and like blowing up data centers or like doing like terrorism. Like, don't. As much as it would be like a libidinal release of like, oh, hooray, like Luigi. It's like, again, I don't think Luigi actually shot the guy, but like when you see a CEO get gunned down, like you're like, pathos, yeah, but it doesn't actually change anything. Like United Healthcare.
I kind of hate how Luigi became like the face of that. Like,
because I don't think he did it.
I want something to be like you, where you could say something like Luigi real fast and you know what you mean, but I don't want it to be because that actual person
Because we don't think he did it. Like,
No,
there's so
definitely
much bad evidence in that case.
Yeah, right. And yeah, well, okay. Here in our last few minutes, we'll talk about the Anthropic case that we kept rubbing the outside of your pants on. If you haven't heard, there's this thing that happened. It's been going on for the past few weeks, but we're just now talking about it because it was sort of in the rumblings phase. Like people are talking about it, but hasn't hit the mainstream, or lots of people talking about it. Yeah, now it has. Because they did this thing called Anthropic. Ooh. Anthropic did this thing that they internally were calling Project Panama. And what this is they were told that ultimately, like, the legality of what you want to do to feed your model, like, you can't just take shit and have it and like regurgitate it. That breaks IP law or something like that. So they got the bright idea, they're like, okay, well, what we'll do instead is we will just purchase all of these books. And that also includes backlogs of things that are out of print, like massively out of print, antique books, things that cannot be replaced, things that basically have no value, or like without you cannot put value on, and then they would destroy them by cutting off the bindings, scanning the pages, feeding their model, which is what did we say it was, Claude? Yeah, feeding their model, and then throwing the rest away of what was left. Now, this is an entirely unnecessary way to do this, because, as you may have guessed, there are actual ways very easily to scan for data, particularly old manuscripts and books, by not making any kind of damage to them at all. Yet they chose to do this because what they were able to do was, again, they were able to monopolize the information. And they're doing these, I'm not even sure what the numbers are at this point. I'm not sure anybody really knows what the numbers are yet, nor we may never know what the numbers are. And they haven't been stopped. They're still doing this. You're not going to see any laws against this because they write the fucking laws. So that's where we basically are. Is that, does that say 7 million in your something? I don't know.
It says what is it? This is because apparently Anthropic has already had to pay a bunch of money. It's like they settled with those authors for $1.5 billion. It's like Anthropic violated copyright of several authors and their publishers by keeping 7 million pirated books of theirs. So that must be a lot of authors, unless one guy wrote 7 million books.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was
library.
Something also that happened, which is that authors were, and I'm an indie author, and that was one of the first things that people in the indie author community were talking about. Were like, okay, you need to go find out if they've stole your shit, and then like started educating their models off of it. A lot of people found out that they did, and then they were able to join this kind of class action lawsuit and stuff. But most of those
music's been scraped.
Right. Yeah. I kind of came from the point of view, it's like, somebody stole my shit.
Yeah, that's being like, good, put me. I want to be in the model. I want my shit to start shining through in the fake music.
Right. Yeah. It's sort of I kind of felt like there's no stopping it. Like, I did not go and look to see if my shit had been scraped. I just assumed it has, because I also make art, and that shit has been stolen over and over and over again. I could actually see other people making money off of my shit. Like, I can go to Redbubble and look up my shit, and then I will find other people fucking selling it. So like, that's the thing. Like, if you make shit, like, you're not like one of the main makers of shit, you're fucked, like, basically. So like, that's a different argument here, because that's what they were doing initially. They were just stealing shit, and when you would hear people saying, well, they're stealing from authors, they're stealing from artists, and then regurgitating their stuff in this dog shit style. Yeah, that was sort of the first hurdle of illegality and immorality that they were doing. Now we've gone into the Fahrenheit 451 area, where now it's like, we're gonna take the things that are irreplaceable in some cases, destroy them, and make sure that, like, maybe there was only one or so few copies left that we got it, or got all of them, and now we own that information. That's what they have done. And again, like I said, you will not see legislation against this. You really will not see them take any kind of heat for this at all, except to like tell them to pay some money, and then, okay, money's nothing. Money is fake. So like, oh, pay some money. You want some money? Here's some money. Like, so that's where we're at. So, and this is just one company. You think that they're the only ones that thought of this? Like, we are still waiting to hear somebody else to leak some information on, Microsoft was doing it too, and so was Meta, and all these other dog shit companies, because they have been like the literal fucking cartoon villains of our lives for like the past 5 years. that openly. But why don't I give you a chance to share your thoughts on that, because I'm
Yeah.
ranting again. So
I probably have like a left field general, like not even opinion on this, but it's this all comes down to it probably seems strange because I am a copyright holder and I make I make money off of owning IP, meaning my own music, and I get money from when my music is streamed. But I'm also like alive and currently writing music and like actively doing stuff. And I don't know if we could go full like copyright doesn't exist, just absolutely nothing. But
yeah,
I do think it should be made more reasonable. Like I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, even like a lifetime of the author, something. Because if you're talking about, if I want to go read certain marks, it's like weirdly hard to find it. And they like we heard about what was the I don't know what like big library archive has been like sued out of existence, and now all these books you used to be able to just look at for PDFs for free, stuff written in the freaking 1800s. I'm
Internet
not talking about
Archive.
like taking money away from a contemporary author who's currently writing and trying to freaking scrape by in the like it's like freaking H.G. Wells, like long dead
I'm
authors.
here with you too, because I literally am an author, and
Exactly.
and I'm an artist, like a digital physical artist. So like I have items, like I have. We were in the same place, and you write the songs and you write the
Mm.
music. We are in the same boat. Like you were talking to people or hearing from people who are literally affected by this, and that is true. We do need some sort of middle ground type of a scenario where copyrights and versus like when it becomes like
Part of the
public.
outrage about this is that we view these really old books, like when you're talking about books that you might not be able to then recover.
Right.
Like, I'm like, well, freaking, we don't have to scan them in a way that literally destroys them. But
Right, we don't.
why are these things not already scanned and put online in a place where you can just go freaking see them? I should be able to go read why don't we have a big suppository of just every depository of just every single freaking book? Why aren't they just there? Like why can't I go I probably can go get like the Odyssey at this point, because who even would, there's not even a copy. That's a freaking word of
Right,
mouth
yeah.
poem. But you know what I'm
But
getting
the
at here.
point is the same,
If you
right?
want to access the classics or these books that were like the idea of a rare book, unless you're talking about the physical book itself, is strange. Like why is any book hard to find? Scanning text, it takes up nothing. There's like zero data, like compared to stuff like video or even photographs.
Right.
Why don't we have just a giant freaking library.gov and just every book is there?
Yeah,
Like,
like a Library of Alexandria in the digital
exactly.
world. Like that should be what we have, and that was also why book people still talk about the Library of Alexandria, because a lot of people, like in the time period of that happening in the pre-fire, that was like the main depository of knowledge and written knowledge, and everything would be in multiple different languages. And if you wanted to go get something, you would send like your country's scholars to go and make physical
Go
copies in
copy
your
it down for
language,
it.
and then or leave physical copies there in their language. So like that is like that.
If you've
so,
ever tried to look up academic papers, Jesus
Oh,
Christ, it's like well, it
Yeah.
just costs a bunch of money. Like for $40, you can look at this PDF, and
Right,
it's like,
yeah.
oh my god, what?
Yeah, and
Like,
then it's like if you want to see something at a college, like like you can't necessarily unless it's their public
you
like
can like get it
archive.
on loan and request and maybe get a thing. It's like
Right.
just put that shit. If it's academic, like certain types of literature, academic literature, why is that built on the freaking profit
Yeah.
motive? Like how is because if you've ever talked to professors, actually the easiest way to get academic literature if you want for free is just find the author, email them and say,
yeah.
hey, can I get this? And they'll just be like, yeah, please. No one ever reads this.
Right, yeah.
Please read it.
With my gratitude. Like, and that's the thing too, is like if we had that kind of a scenario, obviously perfect worlding here, like we do kind of get into the
This
thought
only sucks because it's
thing.
Anthropic. It's a big fuck company. If it was just
Right.
like, I want to scan books for a personal thing of the 1700s, like, yeah, sure, man, go for it. Here's your.
If we got, because there are places that do that, like libraries, archives, they do that. They take these these irreplaceable antique documents and they use the scanners that don't damage the shit, and they do that. It is completely
takes
doable.
longer.
So this was a conscious choice by Anthropic and probably others that'll come to light to destroy the hard copies of the media, to make them inaccessible to other people, so that they then can monopolize the information that was in those particular texts. And they're doing it in mass up into the millions. We don't actually have I don't think of an actual hard figure on that yet. So that's the thing too. Like, and then like if you wanted to almost exactly like he's describing. If you want that information, like, oh, here's pay $40 to Anthropic, and we now own that information. And that's sort of the same methodology that places like Ancestry.com take. That is shit is public records. Like, so it's like, it's about your fucking family, but they'll be like, no, you have to pay $100 a month if you want to see it.
How can we
Fuck
charge
you, I'll go to
rent?
Family Search. Fuck
How
you.
can we charge rent for everything?
Yeah,
How
right.
can we get
That's
rent
exactly
out
what
of a
we're talking
fucking
about.
book?
And if we had a model like this, the Digital Library of Alexandria, it would be like the difference between Ancestry.com and FamilySearch.org. And FamilySearch.org is the one that's run by the Mormon Latter-day Saints, because they believe fundamentally lots of weird shit. But one thing that they do, in fact, believe that I agree with is that you have a right, an actual fucking right to that information,
your own family.
your information or any information that you look up. So, like, yeah, like if you are in it, just like, and that's just talking about genealogy, but that's a fucking fact. We're talking about the exact same things. It is apples to apples here. But like, we're not, but because like if that suddenly ceased to be, the only resource that you then had, like Ancestry.com, say, drives them out and then they can't function anymore, then they have monopolized the information that belongs to you and all people. So that's what we're really talking about here, is like, it's a much bigger thing than just corporate greed. It's an attempt. It's basically a knowledge takeover, an attempt. And that's where we kind of draw back the illusion of the Fahrenheit 451, which is that it's in, and when we get into like Nazi book burnings, or, like it's, or albums burning, like, the countries have done at different times, music and things like this, like, or destruction of art. Like, it is an attempt to control the narrative and stop people from accessing information that does in fact belong to them. So like, that's when we talk about copyrights, that's kind of immaterial here, because like, yeah, as a society, as a whole, as people, your movies belong to you, your television belongs to you, the scripts that they were written on belong to you, and every book that's ever been written belongs to you as a human in society. Yet we are not likely to see any representation for that. Perhaps that there is a way forward for some kind of class action lawsuit, but I don't ever foresee there being any kind of legislation in the U.S. that would stop.
I was talking about how China does things in a way that just they don't want to piss everybody off. Look at this thing. Like, there is absolutely a way to do this exact thing that doesn't piss everybody off by like, oh, cool, scanned it, trash.
Yeah, but they chose not to. They chose to cut the bindings off
because
the
the
book,
incentive, because it's
and
cheaper
then throw the
and
trash.
faster. I'm sure it's just a faster process of scanning it. I'm sure they don't just do it because to be cruel. It's probably like, oh, we could scan 10 books a minute this way, or 1 book a minute this, like.
I think it's probably a combination of both. I don't think it's escaped their mind that like, haha, now we have, not like we've destroyed this magnificent book, but also now no one else can have access to it anymore. So I think it's maybe a bit of hold your nose and do it, because it's going to lead to us having ultimate power, but also it's faster. So I think that like, that's the thing, we do play a lot of fast and loose, shit here with these fucking people. But again, we're talking about the billionaires, the Epstein class are your fucking enemy. So don't sit around and be like, oh, government. Those are just tools of your enemy. They have made this very, very clear. So like, was it the government that were cutting bindings off of books and then scanning them and stealing it and throwing it in the trash? No, it wasn't. Even though they probably knew about it the whole time. It was a company. It was a billionaire's company that did it. So keep that in mind. And when people like to post these headlines and say, you're not mad enough, you're not mad enough. Like, okay, you say like, I can't stop and do things. We know that. That's the entire intention. And we've been saying that forever. I didn't care that Nixon was fucking up. You've heard us say that a bunch of times. Like, cause you have to go and do, and that's why they keep us in such bad conditions in doing all this shit, because they don't want people to feel like they can leave their job because they can't give up the health care. They can't leave a shitty marriage because they can't leave up the health care, or what might happen to the custody of their children. Like, there's all these consequences and stop blocks to stop you from having a free and open and nice and livable, like, tiptoe through the tulips life, because they've got to keep control of you. Except we may now be seeing, with the pushback against things like Flock and the pushback against AI, and this big story is really fucking helping the cause, guys. Like, we need you to be part of the argument. That's the whole thing. Like, you don't have to get out there and try to fight people in the streets if you don't want to. Like, you just have to be part of the conversation and be aware that this is not going to get better unless we do, as Jared said, ultimately accidentally kind of blunder our way into what we will later call a revolution, which would be the most half-assed, lazy.
It happens through necessity.
Through necessity, exactly. Like, it's like, I can't. I've taken all I can stand, and I can't stand no more. Like, what's your breaking point at this point? So, and you have any final thoughts for this week in hell? As we close out this hour.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more to because it's unfortunate. Because, this is the thing that makes people end up doing where I was talking about how you eventually bump up against the wall and you have to turn around and just kind of reinvest in support this part of the empire, because then you get like action items. There's the things you can do. You can go vote and campaign and donate and all, but I don't none of that.
That still feels
provably
real
none of that does anything. So I'm more and more in the realm of live your life, make connections, talk to your family, if you hate your family, make some friends, talk to them. Like, connecting with other people around you is the only and it doesn't do anything in a direct 1 + 1 A = B input output result. If you make enough friends, the revolution happens. But it will make you actually have a kind of nicer life, and then when shit goes down, you have friends and you can all help each other.
You can all eat the barbecued squirrel over the fire together.
You can begin forming an actual fucking society and not just a collection of isolated people who have various subscriptions they're trying to plug into us. Subscribe to books. We own all books now.
Right? Yeah. And what do you think about this? If this goes completely unchecked, which it will, and they were given enough time and enough leeway to do this, they could eventually do it. That could happen. And now you have books.com.
They're going to do all this shit in a way to train a large language model that then is supplanted by a Chinese one that works 10 times as well and costs 1/100th of the cost. That's what it's all going to be. It's going to be cool, we all wasted a whole lot of time in the pursuit of making this stock number go up, which was then collapsed because, why? Well, the U.S. didn't want to deal with China because we were scared they were going to make too many chips. So what did China do? They got really good at making chips. Well, we were scared that China, blah, 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 with AI. So what do? They got better than us at XY thing because they have a system that progresses, a system that emphasizes production and improvement and not, number go up.
Capital.
Maintaining a larger and larger horde.
If you want to call them capitalists, whatever version of that they're doing is way more correct than whatever version the fucking
It has
West
different
is doing.
results. I don't understand how people can look and say that we're just the same, but they're Chinese. They have a different result. They get different outputs than we get. They don't have their standard of living going down, down, down. It's going up. Why? Why can't we just, if that's just capitalism, why don't we do it? That's how if people ask me, what is your ism? I'll be like, I'm a communist. Whoa, I don't like these things. No, I'm a communist like the Chinese Communist Party. And they'll say, well, that's capitalism. And I'll say, well, then we should do capitalism that way. And they're like, no, that would be communism.
Right, right? Yeah, who gives a shit about what word you call it? Whatever they're doing is fucking working on a mass scale. So,
rip off working ideas. That's fine. That's what you're supposed to do.
Did you do that? Or did I do that?
Oh, okay. Did I click on them as I was closing the chat? I clicked on, or he was.
No, okay, yeah. It just showed up on my screen, and I'm like, did I do that? Because both my hands are off.
Referring to Mom Downey. Mom Downey cannot run for president.
Oh
he
yeah,
wasn't
no,
born in the
not
US.
if he's no, he wouldn't be able to. But that's the thing.
And I'm over here saying it wouldn't matter if he did. They can make him president. Cool. We get another Obama stuff. Well, we already had him with the mayor, where he's like, "I will arrest." I didn't realize how strongly he had said this in his campaigns. Which is, someone asked him will Benjamin Netanyahu be welcome in New York? And he's like, "Actually, I will arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if I become mayor." And then he got to do a little statement the other day, which is like, "We've pursued every legal option and just golly gee whoopsie." It's just like Obama with abortion.
Well, don't forget about when Obama started off in the exact opposite. When Obama was first out there, he's like, "I don't do gay marriage, fuck that shit." And then 5 minutes later, he's like, "Gay!" So
it's because Biden said a thing accidentally.
They will give you the tiniest little crumb and then make you chase it forever, like it's on a string. So we're doing carrots on a string for the whole.
You either give up and just say, you know what, the cycle's going to keep going. I'm going to try to participate in the cycle, or you just keep on with it and say, nah, man, it's the same shit just keeps happening over and over with slightly different aesthetics. They update. It's like when Taco Bell changes their logo. It's still Taco Bell, but we've had a fresh remodel.
Yeah, right.
Same thing, guys.
Yeah. Okay,
now it's a Muslim guy doing it. Whoa. And he's hot.
Goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, we will keep on going if we don't stop ourselves at some point. So we got to save some
Thanks for
room
hanging
for
out, everybody.
later.
We'll see you
Yeah,
next week. I'm going to
yeah.
talk.
So thanks
Next
for
week, we'll
hanging out.
talk about how Ukraine is now bombing Iran.
Oh yeah. We didn't even get into that mess about stupidness and so stupid. Ukraine. Well, it's just the fact that it's like you. Just a quick word on that is just that it's so absurd for them to think that they're part of the conversation and they're not being used. By the,
it's the U.S. bombing them through them. It's the same shit with Israel. We're bombing Iran through Israel. We send them a bomb, they throw it.
You're the road between the two places. Okay, like that's all that you are. So, all right, guys, we're not going to start that conversation now. So we will see you next week. Again, thank you for joining us. You can check out our whole archive on YouTube and Rumble, and hit us up on our. If you could find us on our social medias, if there's something you think that we should talk about or address. So thanks for hanging out. Take care of each other. Try to stay sane, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.